The Book of Enoch by Rabbi Ishmael, the High Priest, also known as Third Enoch. Please note, Enoch here is noted as the angel Metatron. When I ascended to the height to behold the vision of the chariot, I entered 6 palaces, one inside the other. And when I reached the door of the 7th palace, I paused in prayer before the Holy One, blessed be He. I looked up and said, Lord of the universe, grant, I beseech you, the merit of Aaron, son of Amram, lover of peace and pursuer of peace, who received on Mount Sinai the crown of priesthood in the presence of your glory, may avail for me now, so that Prince Caspiel and the angels with him may not prevail over me and cast me from heaven. At once the Holy One, blessed be He, summoned to my aid His servant, the angel Metatron, Prince of the divine presence. He flew out to meet me with great alacrity to save me from their power. He grasped me with his hand before their eyes and said to me, Come in peace into the presence of the high and exalted King, to behold the likeness of the chariot. Then I entered the 7th palace, and he led me to the camp of the Shekinah, and presented me before the throne of glory, so that I might behold the chariot. But as soon as the princes of the chariot looked at me, and the fiery seraphim fixed their gaze on me, I shrank back, trembling, and fell down, stunned by the radiant appearance of their eyes and the bright vision of their faces, until the Holy One, blessed be He, rebuked them and said, My servants, my seraphim, my cherubim, and my Ophanim, hide your eyes from Ishmael, my beloved son and honored friend, so that he does not shrink and tremble so. At once Metatron, Prince of the divine presence, came and revived me and raised me to my feet. But still I had not enough strength to sing a hymn before the glorious throne of the glorious King, the mightiest of kings, the most splendid of potentates, up till the hour had passed. But after an hour the Holy One, blessed be He, opened to me the gates of Shekinah, gates of peace, gates of wisdom, gates of strength, gates of might, gates of speech, gates of song, gates of sanctifying praise, gates of chant. He enlightened my eyes and my heart to utter song, praise, jubilation, thanksgiving, song, glory, majesty, loud, and strength. And when I opened my mouth and sang praises before the throne of glory, the holy creatures below the throne of glory and above the throne responded after me, saying, Holy, 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 and blessed be the glory of the Lord in His dwelling place. Then the eagles of the chariot, the flaming Ophanim, and the cherubim of the devouring fire asked Metatron, Youth, why have you allowed one born of woman to come in and behold the chariot? From what nation is he? From what tribe? What is his character? Metatron replied, He is of the nation of Israel, whom the Holy One, blessed be He, chose from the 70 nations to be His people. He is of the tribe of Levi, which presents the offering to His name. He is of the family of Aaron, whom the Holy One, blessed be He, chose to minister in His presence, and on whose head He Himself placed the priestly crown on Sinai. At once they began to say, This one is certainly worthy to behold the chariot, as it is written, Happy is the nation of whom this is true. Happy is the nation whose God is the Lord. Then I questioned the angel Metatron, Prince of the divine presence. I said to him, What is your name? He answered, I have 70 names, corresponding to the 70 nations of the world, and all of them are based on the name of the King of the kings of kings. And however my king calls me Youth. I said to Metatron, Why are you called by the name of your Creator with 70 names? You are greater than all the princes, more exalted than all the angels, more beloved than all the ministers, more honored than all the hosts, and elevated over all the potentates in sovereignty, greatness, and glory. Why then do they call you Youth in the heavenly heights? He answered, Because I am Enoch, the son of Jared. When the generation of the flood sinned and turned to evil deeds, and said to God, Go away, we do not choose to learn your ways. The Holy One, blessed be He, took me from their midst to be a witness against them in the heavenly height to all who should come into the world, so that they should not say, The merciful one is cruel. Did all those multitudes of people sin? And even if they sinned, what sin did their wives, their sons, and their daughters commit? And what of their horses, their mules, their beasts, their cattle, and all the birds of the world which the Holy One destroyed with him in the waters of the flood? What sin did they commit that they should have perished as well? Therefore the Holy One, blessed be He, brought me up in their lifetime before their very eyes to the heavenly height, to be a witness against them to future generations. And the Holy One, blessed be he, appointed me in the height as a prince and a ruler among the ministering angels. Then 3 of the ministering angels, Uzzah, Azza, and Azael, came and laid charges against me in the heavenly height. They said before the Holy One, blessed be he, Lord of the universe, did not the primeval ones give you good advice when they said, do not create man? The Holy One, blessed be he, replied, I have made and will sustain him. I will carry and deliver him. When they saw me, they said before him, Lord of the universe, what right has this one to ascend to the height of heights? Is he not descended from those who perished in the waters of the flood? What right has he to be in heaven? Again the Holy One, blessed be he, replied, and said to them, what right have you to interrupt me? I have chosen this one in preference to all of you, to be a prince and a ruler over you in the heavenly heights. At once they all arose and went to meet me and prostrated themselves before me, saying, happy are you and happy your parents, because your Creator has favored you, because I am young in their company and a mere youth among them in days and months and years. Therefore they call me youth. From that day the Holy One, blessed be he, banished the first man from the garden of Eden. The Shekinah resided on a cherub beneath the tree of life. The ministering angels used to muster and come down from heaven in companies and in bands and cohorts from heaven to execute his will in all the earth. The first man and his generation dwelt at the gate of the Garden of Eden so that they might gaze at the bright image of the Shekinah, or the brilliance of the Shekinah radiated from one end of the world to the other, 365,000 times more brightly than the sun. Anyone who gazed at the brightness of the Shekinah was not troubled by flies or gnats, by sickness or pain. Malicious demons were not able to harm him, and even the angels had no power over him. When the Holy One, blessed be he, went out and in from the garden to Eden, and from Eden to the garden, from the garden to heaven, and from heaven to the Garden of Eden, all gazed at the bright image of his Shekinah, and were unharmed, until the coming of the generation of Enoch, who was the chief of all the idolaters in the world. What did the men of Enoch's generation do? They roamed the world from end to end, and each of them amassed silver, gold, precious stones, and pearls, in mountainous heaps and piles. In the 4 quarters of the world they fashioned them into idols, and in each quarter they set up idols about 1,000 parasangs in height. They brought down the sun, the moon, the stars, and the constellations, and stationed them before the idols, to their right and to their left, to serve them in the way they served the Holy One. Blessed is he, as it is written, all the array of heaven stood in his presence, to his right and to his left. How is it that they had the strength to bring them down? It was only because Uzzah, Azza, and Azael taught them sorceries that they brought them down and employed them, for otherwise they would not have been able to bring them down. Thereupon the ministering angels conspired to bring a complaint before the Holy One, blessed be he. They said in his presence, Lord of the universe, what business have you with men, as it is written, what is man, Enoch, that you should spare the thought for him? It does not say here, what is Adam, but what is Enoch, because Enoch is the chief of the idolaters. Why did you leave the heaven of heavens above, the abode of your glory, the high and exalted throne which is in the height of Arabat, and come and lodge with men who worship idols? Now you are on the earth, and the idols are on the earth. What is your business among the idolatrous inhabitants of the earth? Immediately the Holy One, blessed be he, took up his Shekinah from the earth, from their midst. Then the ministering angels came, and the cohorts of the hosts, and the armies of Arabat, 1,000 companies strong, and myriads of hosts. They took trumpets and seized horns, and surrounded the Shekinah with psalms and songs, and it ascended to the heavenly heights, as it is written, God went up to the sound of horns, the Lord went up with a fanfare of trumpets. When the Holy One, blessed be he, desired to bring me up to the height, he sent me Prince Anapiel, Yahweh, and he took me from their midst before their very eyes, and he conveyed me in great glory on a fiery chariot, with fiery horses and glorious attendants, and he brought me up with the Shekinah to the heavenly heights. As soon as I reached the heavenly heights, the holy creatures, the Ophanim, the Seraphim, the Cherubim, the wheels of the chariot, and the ministers of consuming fire smelled my odor 365 myriads of parasangs off. They said, What is this smell of one born of woman? Why does a white drop ascend on high and serve among those who cleave the flames? The Holy One, blessed be he, replied and said to them, My ministers, my hosts, my cherubim, my Ophanim, and my seraphim, do not be displeased at this, for all mankind has rejected me and my great kingdom, and has gone off and worshipped idols. So I have taken up my Shekinah from their midst and brought it up to the height. And this one whom I have removed from them is the choicest of them all, and worth them all in faith, righteousness, and fitting conduct. This one whom I have taken is my sole reward from my whole world under heaven. When the Holy One, blessed be he, removed from me the generation of the flood, he bore me up on the stormy wings of the Shekinah to the highest heaven, and brought me into the great palaces, in the height of the heaven of Arabat, where the glorious throne of the Shekinah is found, and the chariot, the cohorts of wrath, the hosts of fury, the fiery Sinanim, the blazing cherubim, the smoldering Ophanim, the ministers of fire, the lightning Hasmalim, and the flashing seraphim. He stationed me there to serve the throne of glory day by day. Before the Holy One, blessed be he, set me to serve the throne of glory. He opened for me 300,000 gates of understanding, 300,000 gates of prudence, 300,000 gates of life, 300,000 gates of grace and favor, 300,000 gates of love, 300,000 gates of Torah, 300,000 gates of humility, 300,000 gates of sustenance, 300,000 gates of mercy, 300,000 gates of reverence. Then the Holy One, blessed be he, bestowed upon me wisdom, heaped upon wisdom, understanding upon understanding, prudence upon prudence, knowledge upon knowledge, mercy upon mercy, Torah upon Torah, love upon love, grace upon grace, beauty upon beauty, humility upon humility, might upon might, strength upon strength, power upon power, splendor upon splendor, loveliness upon loveliness, comeliness upon comeliness. And I was honored and adorned with all these excellent, praiseworthy qualities, more than all the denizens of the heights. In addition to all these qualities, the Holy One, blessed be he, laid his hand on me and blessed me with 1,365,000 blessings. I was enlarged and increased in size till I matched the world in length and breadth. He made to grow on me 72 wings, 36 on one side and 36 on the other, and each single wing covered the entire world. He fixed me in 365,000 eyes, and each eye was like the great light, and there was no sort of splendor, brilliance, brightness, or beauty in the luminaries of this world that he failed to fix in me. After all this, the Holy One, blessed be he, made for me a throne like the throne of glory, and he spread over it a coverlet of splendor, brilliance, brightness, beauty, loveliness, and grace, like the coverlet of the throne of glory, in which all the varied splendor of the luminaries that are in the world is set. He placed it at the door of the seventh palace, and sat me upon it. And the herald went out into every heaven, and announced concerning me, I have appointed Metatron, my servant, as a prince and ruler over all the denizens of the heights, apart from the 8 great, honored, and terrible places, who are called Yahweh by the name of their king. Any angel and any prince who has anything to say in my presence should go before him and speak to him. Whatever he says to you in my name you must observe and do, because I have committed to him the Prince of Wisdom and the Prince of Understanding, to teach him the wisdom of those above and those below, the wisdom of this world and of the world to come. Moreover, I have put him in charge of all the stores of the palaces of Arabat, and all the treasuries that are in the heavenly heights. The Holy One, blessed be he, revealed to me from the time onward all the mysteries of wisdom, all the depths of the perfect Torah, and all the thoughts of men's heart. All the mysteries of the world and all the orders of nature stand revealed before me as they stand revealed before the Creator. From that time onward I looked and beheld deep secrets and wonderful mysteries. Before a man thinks in secret, I see his thought. Before he acts, I see his act. There is nothing in heaven above, or deep within the earth, concealed from me. Out of the love which he had for me, more than for all the denizens of the heights, the Holy One, blessed be he, fashioned for me a majestic robe in which all kinds of luminaries were set, and he clothed me in it. He fashioned for me a glorious cloak in which brightness, brilliance, splendor, and luster of every kind were fixed, and he wrapped me in it. He fashioned for me a kingly crown in which 49 refulgent stones were placed. each like the sun's orb, and its brilliance shone into the four quarters of the heaven of Arabat, into the seven heavens, and into the four quarters of the world. He set it upon my head, and he called me the lesser Yahweh, in the presence of his whole household in the height, as it is written, My name is in him. Out of the abundant love and great compassion wherewith the Holy One, blessed be he, loved and cherished me more than all the denizens of the heights, he wrote with his finger as with a pen of flame upon the crown which was on my head, the letters by which heaven and earth were created, the letters by which seas and rivers were created, the letters by which mountains and hills were created, the letters by which stars and constellations, lightning and wind, thunder and thunderclaps, snow and hail, hurricane and tempest were created, the letters by which all the necessities of the world and all the orders of creation were created. Each letter flashed time after time like lightnings, time after time like torches, time after time like flames, time after time like the rising of the sun, moon, and stars. When the Holy One, blessed be he, placed his crown upon my head, all the princes of kingdoms who were in the height of the heaven of Arabat, and all the legions of every heaven trembled at me, even the princes of the Elim, and the princes of Erelim, and the princes of the Tapsarim, who are greater than all the ministering angels that serve before the throne of glory, trembled and shrank from me when they saw me. Even Samael, the prince of the accusers, who is greater than all the princes of kingdoms that are in the height, was afraid and shuddered at me. Even the angel of fire, the angel of hail, the angel of wind, the angel of lightning, the angel of whirlwind, the angel of thunder, the angel of snow, the angel of rain, the angel of day, the angel of night, the angel of the sun, the angel of the moon, the angel of the stars, the angel of the constellations, who guide the world by their direction, trembled and shrank back in alarm from me when they saw me. These are the names of the princes who guide the worlds: Gabriel, the angel of fire; Baradiel, the angel of hail; Ruhuiel, who is in charge of wind; Barakiel, who is in charge of lightning; Zaamiel, who is in charge of whirlwind; Zikiel, who is in charge of comets; Zeiel, who is in charge of tremors; Zaapeel, who is in charge of hurricane; Raamiel, who is in charge of thunder; Raasiel, who is in charge of earthquakes; Salgiel, who is in charge of snow; Matariel, who is in charge of rain; Simsiel, who is in charge of day; Laeliel, who is in charge of night; Galgaliel, who is in charge of the orb of the sun; Opaniel, who is in charge of the disk of the moon; Kokabiel, who is in charge of the stars; Rahatiel, who was in charge of the constellations. They all fell prostrate when they saw me, and could not look at me because of the majesty, splendor, beauty, brightness, brilliance, and radiance of the glorious crown which was on my head. When the Holy One, blessed be he, took me to serve the throne of glory, the wheels of the chariot and all the needs of the Shekinah, at once my flesh turned to flame, my sinews to blazing fire, my bones to juniper coals, my eyelashes to lightning flashes, my eyeballs to fiery torches, the hairs of my head to hot flames, all my limbs to wings of burning fire, and the substance of my body to blazing fire. On my right side those who cleave flames of fire, on my left burning brands. Round about me swept wind, tempest, and storm. The roar of the earthquake upon earthquake was before and behind me. At first I sat upon the great throne at the door of the seventh palace, and I judged all the denizens of the heights on the authority of the Holy One, blessed be he. I assigned greatness, royalty, rank, sovereignty, glory, praise, diadem, crown, and honor to all the princes of kingdoms. When I sat in the heavenly court, the princes of kingdoms stood beside me, to my right and to my left, by authority of the Holy One, blessed be he. But when Ahir came to behold the vision of the chariot and set eyes upon me, he was afraid and trembled before me. His soul was alarmed to the point of leaving him because of his fear, dread, and terror of me. When he saw me seated upon a throne like the king, with ministering angels standing beside me as servants, and all the princes of kingdoms crowned with crowns surrounding me, then he opened his mouth and said, "There are indeed two powers in heaven." Immediately a divine voice came out from the presence of the Shekinah and said, "Come back to me, apostate sons, apart from Ahir. Then Anapiel, Yahweh, the honored, glorified, beloved, wonderful, terrible, and dreadful Prince, came at the command of the Holy One, blessed be he, and struck me with 60 lashes of fire, and made me stand to my feet. There are 7 great, beautiful, wonderful, and honored princes who are in charge of the 7 heavens. They are Michael, Gabriel, Satkael, Sahakael, Baradiel, Barakiel, and Sidriel. Each of them is a prince over a heavenly host, and every one of them is attended to by 496,000 myriads of ministering angels. Michael, the great prince, is in charge of the 7th heaven, the highest, which is in Arabat. Gabriel, prince of the host, is in charge of the 6th heaven, which is in Makan. Satkael, prince of the host, is in charge of the 5th heaven, which is in Ma'an. Sahakael, prince of the host, is in charge of the 4th heaven, which is in Zebul. Baradiel, prince of the host, is in charge of the 3rd heaven, which is in Sehakim. Barakiel, son of the host, is in charge of the 2nd heaven, which is in Rakia. Sidriel, prince of the host, is in charge of the 1st heaven, which is in Wilon. Under them is Galgaliel, the prince, who is in charge of the orb of the sun, and with him are 96 angels, mighty and honored, who make the sun's orb run 365 parasangs through Rakia every day. Under them is Ophaniel, the prince, who is in charge of the globe of the moon, and with him are 88 angels, who make the moon's globe run 354,000 parasangs every night. Whenever the moon stands in the east at its turning point. When does the moon stand in the east at its turning point? Answer: on the 15th day of every month. Under them is Rahatiel, the prince, who is in charge of the constellations, and with him are 72 angels, great and honored. Why is his name Rahatiel? Because he makes the constellations run 339,000 parasangs in their cycles and orbits each night, from the east to the west and from the west to the east, for the Holy One, blessed be he, made for them all, for the sun, the moon, and the constellations, a tent to move in by night from the west to the east. Under them is Kokabiel, the prince, who is in charge of all the stars, and with him are 365,000 myriads of ministering angels, great and honored, who make the stars run from city to city and from state to state in Rakia of the heavens. Above them are 72 princes of kingdoms in the height, corresponding to the 72 nations in the world. All of them are crowned with kingly crowns, clothed in regal dress, and decked with royal jewels. All of them ride on royal horses and grasp kingly scepters in their hands. Before each of them, when he travels through the Rakia, royal servants run with great honor and much pomp, just as kings travel on earth in chariots attended by horsemen and great armies, in glory, greatness, praise, acclamation, and splendor. The angels of the 1st heaven, when they see their prince, they dismount from their horses and fall prostrate. The prince of the 1st heaven, when he sees the prince of the 2nd heaven, he removes the glorious crown from his head, and he falls prostrate. The prince of the 2nd heaven, when he sees the prince of the 3rd heaven, he removes the glorious crown from his head and falls prostrate. The prince of the 3rd heaven, when he sees the prince of the 4th heaven, he removes the glorious crown from his head and falls prostrate. The prince of the 4th heaven, when he sees the prince of the 5th heaven, he removes the glorious crown from his head and falls prostrate. The prince of the 5th heaven, when he sees the prince of the 6th heaven, he removes the glorious crown from his head and falls prostrate. The prince of the 6th heaven, when he sees the prince of the 7th heaven, he removes the glorious crown from his head and falls prostrate. The prince of the 7th heaven, when he sees the 72 princes of kingdoms, he removes the glorious crown from his head and falls prostrate. The 72 princes of kingdoms, when they see the guardians of the door of the 1st palace, which is in Arabat, the highest heaven, they remove the kingly crowns from their heads and fall prostrate. The guardians of the door of the 1st palace, when they see the guardians of the door in the 2nd palace, they remove their glorious crowns from their head and fall prostrate. The guardians of the door of the 2nd palace, when they see the guardians of the door of the 3rd palace, they remove their glorious crowns and fall prostrate. The guardians of the door of the 3rd palace, when they see the guardians of the door of the 4th palace, they remove their glorious crowns and fall prostrate. The guardians of the door of the 4th palace, when they see the guardians of the door of the 5th palace, They remove their glorious crowns and fall prostrate. The guardians of the door of the fifth palace, when they see the guardians of the door of the sixth palace, they remove their glorious crowns and fall prostrate. The guardians of the door of the sixth palace, when they see the guardians of the door of the seventh palace, they remove their glorious crowns and fall prostrate. The guardians of the door of the seventh palace, when they see the four great and honored princes who are in charge of the four camps of the Shekinah, they remove their glorious crowns and fall prostrate. The four great princes, when they see Tagas, the prince, great and honored, in song and praise at the head of all the celestials, they remove the glorious crowns from their heads and fall prostrate. Tagas, the great and honored prince, when he sees Baratiel, the great prince, upon the tops of whose fingers Arabat is spread out, he removes the glorious crown from his head and falls prostrate. Baratiel, the great prince, when he sees Haman, the great, terrible, honored, beautiful, and dreaded prince, who makes all the denizens and heights quake when the time comes to recite Kedusa, as it is written, at the voice of Haman the people flee, when you arise the nations scatter. He removes the glorious crown from his head and falls prostrate. Haman, the great prince, when he sees Tatatziel, Yahweh, the great prince, he removes the glorious crown from his head and falls prostrate. Tatrasiel, Yahweh, the great prince, when he sees Atrugiel, Yahweh, the great prince, he removes the glorious crown from his head and falls prostrate. Artrugiel, Yahweh, the great prince, when he sees Narariel, Yahweh, the great prince, he removes the glorious crown from his head and falls prostrate. Naaririel, Yahweh, the great prince, when he sees Sasnagiel, Yahweh, the great prince, he removes the glorious crown from his head and falls prostrate. Sansnigiel, Yahweh, the prince, when he sees Zariel, Yahweh, the great prince, he removes the glorious crown from his head and falls prostrate. Zazrael, Yahweh, the prince, when he sees Gabutrariel, Yahweh, the prince, he removes the glorious crown from his head and falls prostrate. Gaburatriel, Yahweh, the prince, when he sees Arapiel, Yahweh, the prince, he removes the glorious crown from his head and falls prostrate. Arapiel, Yahweh, the prince, when he sees Azroilu, Yahweh, the prince, he removes the glorious crown from his head and falls prostrate. Azrielu, Yahweh, the prince, the head of every session of the heavenly academy, when he sees Galisur, Yahweh, the prince, who reveals all the secrets of Torah, he removes the glorious crown from his head and falls prostrate. Galisur, Yahweh, the prince, when he sees Zachiel, Yahweh, the prince, who was appointed to record the merits of Israel upon the throne of glory, he removes the glorious crown from his head and falls prostrate. Zachiel, Yahweh, the great prince, when he sees Anapiel, Yahweh, the prince, who keeps the keys of the palace of the heaven of Arabat, he removes the glorious crown from his head and falls prostrate. Why is his name called Anapiel? Because the bow of his majesty, glory, crown, brilliance, and splendor overshadows all the chambers of Arabat, the highest heaven, like the glory of the Creator of the world. As it is written, the Creator of the world, his majesty veils the heavens, and the earth is filled with his glory. So does the majesty and glory of Anapael, Yahweh the prince, overshadow all the chambers of highest Arabat. Anapael, Yahweh the prince, when he sees Soterasiel, Yahweh the great, terrible, and honored prince, he removes the glorious crown from his head and falls prostrate. Why is his name called Soterasiel? Because he is appointed to serve in the divine presence over the four heads of the river of fire, opposite the throne of glory, and that any prince who wishes to leave or to enter the presence of the Shekinah may do so only by his permission, because the seals of the four heads of the river of fire are entrusted to his keeping. Further, he is called Soterasiel because his height is 70,000 myriads of parasangs, and he stirs up the fire of the river of fire, and he leaves and enters the presence of the Shekinah to explain the records concerning the inhabitants of the earth, as it is written, a court was held and the books were opened. Soterasiel, Yahweh the prince, when he sees Sokedosi, Yahweh the great, mighty, terrible, and honored prince, he removes the glorious crown from his head and falls prostrate. Why is his name called Sokedosi? Because he weighs men's merits in scales in the presence of the Holy One. Blessed be he. Sokedosi, Yahweh the prince, when he sees Zehanpuriu, Yahweh the prince, great, mighty, honored, glorified, and dreaded in the whole heavenly household, he removes the glorious crown from his head and falls prostrate. Why is his name called Zehanpuriu? because he is angry at the river of fire and quenches it in its place. Zehanpuryo Yahweh the Prince, when he sees Azboga Yahweh the Prince, great, mighty, terrible, honored, glorified, wonderful, beloved and dreaded among the princes who know the secrets of the throne of glory. He removes the glorious crown from his head and falls prostrate. Why is his name called Azboga? Because he girds men with the garments of life, and in time to come he will wrap the righteous and pious of the world in robes of life, so that clad in them they may enjoy eternal life. Azboga Yahweh the Prince, when he sees the two great sovereign and honored princes who stand above him, he removes the glorious crown from his head and falls prostrate. These are the names of the two princes: Sophidiel Yahweh, who puts to death, the great, honored, purified, glorified, ancient, and mighty prince, and Sophidiel Yahweh, who makes alive, the great, honored, glorified, pure, ancient, and mighty prince. Why is the name of that one called Sophidiel Yahweh, who puts to death? Because he is in charge of the books of the dead, for he records in the books of the dead everyone whose day of death has come. Why is the name of the other called Sophidiel Yahweh, who makes alive? Because he is in charge of the books of the living, for he records in the books of the living everyone whom the Holy One, blessed be he, is pleased to bring into life, by authority of the Omnipresent One, so that you should not suppose that since the Holy One, blessed be he, sits on a throne, they too sit and write. Scripture states, the whole host of heaven stood beside him. It does not say host of heaven, but the whole host of heaven, which teaches that even the great princes who are without peer in the heavenly height only attend to the needs of the Shekinah while standing. But how can they write while standing? The one stands upon the heels of storm, the other stands upon the wheels of storm. The one is clothed in a royal robe, the other is clothed in a royal robe. The one is wrapped in a cloak of majesty, the other is wrapped in a cloak of majesty. The one wears a kingly crown, the other wears a kingly crown. The body of the one is full of eyes, the body of the other is full of eyes. The appearance of one is like lightning, the appearance of the other is like lightning. The eyes of the one are like the sun in its strength, the eyes of the other are like the sun in its strength. The splendor of one is as the splendor of the throne of glory, the splendor of the other is as the splendor of the throne of glory. The height of one is that of 7 heavens, the height of the other is as the 7 heavens. The wings of the one are as the days of the year, the wings of the other are as the day of the year. The wings of the one are as the breadth of heaven, the wings of the other are as the breadth of a heaven. The lips of the one are like the gates of the east, the lips of the other are like the gates of the east. The tongue of the one is as high as the sea's waves, the tongue of the other is as high as the sea's waves. From the mouth of the one flames issue, from the mouth of the other flames issue. From the mouth of the one lightning shoot out, from the mouth of the other lightning shoot out. From the sweat of the one fire is kindled, from the sweat of the other fire is kindled. The tongue of the one is a blazing torch, the tongue of the other is a blazing torch. On the head of the one is a sapphire stone, on the head of the other is a sapphire stone. On the shoulder of the one is a wheel of a swift cherub, on the shoulder of the other is the wheel of a swift cherub. In the hand of the one is a burning scroll, in the hand of the other is a burning scroll. In the hand of the one is a pen of flame, in the hand of the other is a pen of flame. The length of the scroll is 3,000 myriads of parasangs. The height of the pen is 3,000 parasangs. The height of each single letter that they write is 365 parasangs. Above these two great princes is a prince, distinguished, honored, noble, glorified, adorned, dreaded, valiant, mighty, great, magnified, potent, crowned, wonderful, exalted, pure, beloved, sovereign, proud, elevated, ancient, and strong, without a peer among all the princes. His name is Rikbiel Yahweh, the great and terrible prince. Why is his name called Rikbiel? Because he is in charge of the wheels of the chariot, and they are committed to his keeping. How many wheels are there? 8, 2 for each direction. 4 winds enclose them in a circle, and these are their names: storm, tempest, hurricane, and gale. 4 rivers of fire flow from beneath them, one on each side. Between them, forming a circle, 4 clouds stand. Opposite their wheels, these are their names: clouds of fire, clouds of firebrand, clouds of glowing coal, and clouds of brimstone. The feet of the creatures rests on the wheels, and between one wheel and another earthquake roars and thunder rumbles. When the time comes to recite the song, the multitude of the wheels tremble, and the multitude of the clouds shudder. And all the captains tremble, and all the horsemen are agitated, and all the valiant shiver, and the hosts quake. All the legions are afraid, all the overseers are terrified, and all the princes and armies are alarmed. All the ministers faint, all the angels and cohorts writhe in agony, and one wheel utters the voice of another, cherub to cherub, creature to creature, Ophan to Ophan, and seraph to seraph, saying, Extol him who rides in the Arabat, whose name is the Lord, and exult before him. Above them is a great and powerful prince. Haliel, Yahweh, is his name, a prince noble and terrible, a prince sovereign and mighty, a prince great and dreaded, a prince from whom all the celestials shrink back, and a prince who is able to swallow the whole world at one gulp. Why is his name called Haliel? Because he is in charge of the creatures, and he whips them with lashes of fire. He extols them when they utter praise and glory, and he makes them hasten to say, Holy, 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 and blessed he the glory of the Lord in his dwelling place. There are 4 creatures facing the 4 winds. Each single creature would fill the whole world. Each of them has 4 faces, and every single face looks like the sunrise. Each creature has 4 wings, and every single wing would cover the world. Each one of them has faces within faces and wings within wings. The size of a face is 248 faces, and the size of a wing is 365 wings. Each creature is crowned with 2,000 crowns, and every crown is like the rainbow, and its brightness is as the brightness of the sun's orb, and the rays which shine from each separate crown are as the brightness of the morning star in the east. Above them is the prince, noble, wonderful, mighty, praised with all manner of praise. Kerubiel, Yahweh is his name, a valiant prince, full of boundless power, a majestic prince with whom is majesty, a righteous prince with whom is righteousness, a holy prince with whom is holiness, a prince glorified by thousands of hosts, a prince extolled by countless legions. At his wrath the earth quakes, at his rage the camps tremble, the foundations shudder from fear of him, and Darabat quakes at his rebuke. His body is full of burning coals, it is as high as the 7 heavens, as broad as the 7 heavens, as wide as the 7 heavens. The opening of his mouth blazes like a fiery torch, and his tongue is a consuming fire. His eyelashes are as the splendor of lightning, his eyes like brilliant sparks, and his face looks like a blazing fire. A crown of holiness is on his head, with a sacred name engraved upon it, from which lightning flickers. The bow of the Shekinah is across his shoulders. The sword like a lightning flash is on his thigh. His arrows like lightning flashes are in his belt. A breastplate of consuming fire hangs around his neck. The coals of juniper encompass him. The splendor of the Shekinah is on his face. Horns of majesty are on his wheels, and a royal turban crowns his head. His whole body is full of eyes. From head to toe he is covered with wings. On his right hand a flame blazes. On his left hand fire burns. Coals blaze from his body, and firebrands shoot from him. Lightnings flash from his face. He is always accompanied by thunderclap upon thunderclap. Earthquake upon earthquake are ever with him. And the 2 princes of the chariot dwell with him. Why is his name called Kerubiel? Because he is in charge of the chariots of the cherubim, and the mighty cherubim are committed to his keeping. He shines upon the crowns on their heads, and furbishes the diadems on their foreheads. He promotes the praise of their form, and adorns their majestic beauty. He makes them very lovely as they are, still lovelier, and increases their great glory. He sings the song of their praise, and recites the strength of their beauty. He makes their glorious splendor gleam, and the glory of their comeliness and grace he makes more fair. He decks their dazzling loveliness, and beautifies their gracious beauty. He honors their majestic rectitude, and extols the order of their praise, so as to prepare a throne for him who sits upon the cherubim. The cherubim stand beside the holy creatures, and their wings are raised up to the height of their heads. The Shekinah rests upon their backs, the splendor of the glory is on their faces, and song and praise are in their mouths. Their hands are under their wings, and their feet are covered by their wings, and horns of glory are on their heads. The brilliance of the Shekinah is on their countenances, and the Shekinah rests upon their backs. Sapphire stones surround them. Pillars of fire are on their four sides. Pillars of flame flank them. A sapphire stone stands on one side and a sapphire stone on the other, and beneath the sapphires coals of juniper. A cherub stands on one side and a cherub on the other, and the wings of the cherubim enfold each other in glory above their heads. They spread them to sing with them the song to him who dwells in clouds, and to praise with them the glory of the King of Kings. Kerubiel Yahweh the Prince, who is in charge of them, marshals them into pleasing, fine, and beautiful array, and extols them with all kinds of praise, glory, and honor. He makes them haste with glory and strength to do the will of their Creator at every moment, for on top of their heads abides perpetually the glory of the high and exalted King who dwells upon the cherubim. Above them is a prince, great, terrible, mighty, exalted, distinguished, dreaded, ancient, and strong. Opaniel Yahweh is his name. He has 16 faces, 4 on each side, and 100 wings on each side. He has 8,766 eyes, corresponding to the number of hours in a year, 2,191 on each side. In each a pair of eyes, in each of his faces lightnings flash, from every eye torches blaze, and no one can look on them, for anyone who looks at them is at once consumed. The height of his body is a journey of 2,500 years. No eye can see it. No mouth can tell the mighty strength of his power, save only the King of the kings of kings, the Holy One, blessed be he. Why is his name called Opaniel? Because he is appointed to tend the Ophanim, and the Ophanim are entrusted to his keeping. Every day he stands over them and tends them and beautifies them. He praises and arranges their running. He polishes their platforms. He adorns their compartments. He makes their turning smooth and cleans their seats. Early and late, day and night, he tends to them so as to increase their beauty, to magnify their majesty, and to make them swift in praise of their Creator. All the Ophanim are full of eyes and full of wings, eyes corresponding to wings, and wings corresponding to eyes. From them light shines, like the light of the morning star. 72 sapphire stones are set in their garments on the right side of each of them. 72 sapphire stones are set in their garments on the left side of each of them, and 4 emeralds are set in each one's crown, the brightness of which shines into the 4 corners of Arabat, just as the brightness of the sun's orb shines into the 4 corners of the world. Pavilions of brilliance, pavilions of splendor, pavilions of light, sapphire, and emerald envelop them, so that no one should see the appearance of their eyes and of their faces. Above them is a prince, wonderful, noble, great, respected, mighty, lordly, a captain and a leader, glorified, honored, and beloved. He is all full of brightness and full of praise and radiance, all full of splendor, all full of light, all full of beauty, all full of loveliness, all full of greatness and magnificence. His face is like the face of angels, and his body is like the body of eagles. His brilliance is like lightning. His appearance is like firebrands, his beauty like lightning flashes, his majesty like fiery coals, his adornment like Hasmalim, his radiance like the light of the morning star, his image like the greater light, his height as the 7 heavens, the light of his eyes like 7-fold light. The sapphire stone on his head is the size of the whole world, and like the brilliance of the heavens themselves in clarity. His body is full of eyes like the stars of heaven, beyond reckoning, without number, and each eye is like the morning star. Some of them are like the lesser light, some like the greater light. From his ankles to his knees they resemble stars of lightning. From his knees to his thighs the morning star. From his thighs to his waist the light of the moon. And from his waist to his neck the light of the sun. And from his neck to his forehead unfading light. The crown on his head is radiant like the throne of glory, and the height of the crown is a journey of 502 years. There is no kind of radiance, no kind of splendor, no kind of brilliance, no kind of light in the world which is not placed in that crown. Serapiel is the name of that prince, and on the name of the crown on his head is Prince of Peace. Why is his name called Serapiel? Because he is in charge of the seraphim, and the seraphim of flame are committed to his care. He stands over them day and night and teaches them song, psalm, eulogy, might, and majesty, so that they might glorify their King with all manner of praise and sanctifying song. How many seraphim are there? 4, corresponding to the four winds of the world. How many wings do each of them have? 6, corresponding to the 6 days of creation. How many faces have they? 16, 4 facing in each direction. The measure of the seraphim and the height of each of them corresponds to the 7 heavens. The size of each wing is as the fullness of a heaven, and the size of each face is like the rising sun. Every one of them radiates light like the splendor of the throne of glory, so that even the holy creatures, the majestic Ophanim and the glorious cherubim, cannot look on that light, for the eyes of anyone who looks on it will grow dim in its brilliance. Why is their name called seraphim? Because they burn like the tablets of Satan. Every day Satan sits with Samael, prince of Rome, and with Dubiel, prince of Persia, and they write down the sins of Israel on tablets and give them to the seraphim to bring them before the Holy One, blessed be he, so that he should destroy Israel from the world. But the seraphim know the secrets of the Holy One, blessed be he, that he does not desire that this nation of Israel should fall. What then do the seraphim do? Every day they take the tablets from Satan's hand and burn them in the blazing fire that stands opposite to the high and exalted throne, so that they should not come into the presence of the Holy One, blessed be he, when he sits upon the throne of judgment and judges the whole world in truth. Above the seraphim is a prince, more exalted than all princes, more wonderful than all ministers. Rodweriel Yahweh is his name, and he is in charge of the archives. He takes out the scroll box in which the book of records is kept, and brings it into the presence of the Holy One, blessed be he. He breaks the seals of the scroll box, opens it, takes out the scrolls, and puts them in the hands of the Holy One, blessed be he. The Holy One receives them from his hand and places them before the scribes, so that they might read them out to the great law court, which is in the height of the heaven of Arabat, in the presence of the heavenly household. Why is his name called the Rodweriel? Because from every utterance that issues from his mouth an angel is formed, and it joins in the songs of the ministering angels, and recites the song before the Holy One, blessed be he, when the time comes to say, Holy. Above all these are 4 great princes called Watchers and Holy Ones, high and honored, terrible, beloved, wonderful, noble, and greater than all the celestials, and among all the ministers there is none equal to them, for each of them singly is a match for all the others together. Their abode is opposite the throne of glory, and their station is facing the Holy One, blessed be he, so that the splendor of their abode resembles the splendor of the throne of glory, and the brilliance of their image is as the brilliance of the Shekinah. They receive glory from the glory of the Almighty, and they are praised with the praise of the Shekinah. Moreover, the Holy One, blessed be he, does nothing in the world without first taking counsel with them, then acts as it is written. Such is the sentence proclaimed by the watchers, the verdict announced by the holy ones. There are 2 watchers and 2 holy ones. How do they stand before the Holy One, blessed be he? It is taught that a watcher stands on one side and a holy one on the other, and a watcher stands on one side and a holy one on the other. They abase the arrogant to the earth and exalt the lowly on high. Every day when the Holy One, blessed be he, sits on the throne of judgment and judges all the world, with the books of the living and the books of the dead open before him, all the celestials stand before him in fear, dread, terror, and trembling. When the Holy One, blessed be he, sits in judgment on the throne of judgment, his garment is white like snow, the hair of his head is as pure wool, his whole robe shines like a dazzling light, and he is covered all over with righteousness as with a coat of mail. The watchers and the Holy One stand before him like court officers before the judge. They take up and debate every single matter, and they close each case that comes for judgment before the Holy One. Blessed be he, as it is written. Such is the sentence proclaimed by the watchers, the verdict announced by the holy ones. Some of them decide the cases. Some of them issue the verdicts in the great court in Arabat. Some of them raise the questions in the presence of the Almighty. Some complete the cases before the one above, and some carry out the sentences on the earth beneath, as it is written. Behold, a watcher and a holy one came down from heaven. At the top of his voice he shouted, Cut the tree down, lop off its branches, strip its leaves, throw away its fruit. Let the animals flee from its shelter, and the birds from its branches. Why are their names called watchers and holy ones? Because they sanctify the body and the soul with lashes of fire on the 3rd day of judgment, as it is written, After 2 days he will revive us. On the 3rd day he will raise us, and we shall live in his presence. Each one of them has 70 names corresponding to the 70 languages that are in the world, and all of them are based on the name of the Holy One, blessed be He. Every single name is written with a pen of flame upon the terrible crown that is on the head of the high and exalted King. From each of them sparks and lightning shoot forth. From each of them rays of splendor stream out, and from each of them lights flash. Pavilions and tents of brilliance surround them, for even the seraphim and the creatures who are greater than all the celestials cannot look on them. Whenever the great law court sits in the height of heaven of Arabot, only the great princes who are called Yahweh by the name of the Holy One, blessed be He, are permitted to speak. How many princes are there? There are 72 princes of kingdoms in the world, not counting the prince of the world, who speaks in favor of the world before the Holy One. Blessed be He, every day at the hour when the book is opened, in which every deed in the world is recorded as it is written. A court was held, and the books were opened. When the Holy One, blessed be He, sits on the throne of judgment, justice stands on His right hand, mercy is on His left. The truth stands directly facing Him. When a man enters His presence for judgment, a staff, as it were, extends toward him from the splendor of mercy and takes up a position in front of him. At once the man falls prostrate, and all the angels of destruction fear and shrink from him, as it is written, His throne is established through mercy, and He sits upon it in truth. When the Holy One, blessed be He, opens the book in half of which is fire, and half flame, the angels of destruction go forth from His presence, moment by moment, to execute judgment against the wicked, with the unsheathed sword of God, the brilliance of which flashes like lightning and passes through the world from end to end, as it is written. For by fire the Lord will execute judgment, and by His sword against all mankind. All the inhabitants of the world are fearful before Him when they see His sword sharpened and gleaming like lightning from one end of the world to the other, and rays and sparks shooting from it as big as the stars of heaven. And it is written, When I have sharpened the lightning of my sword. When the Holy One, blessed be He, sits on the throne of judgment, the angels of mercy stand on His right, the angels of peace stand on His left, and the angels of destruction stand facing Him. The scribe stands below Him, and the scribe stands above Him. Glorious seraphim surround the throne on its four sides with walls of lightning, and the ophim surround them like torches, round the throne of glory. Then clouds of fire and clouds of flame are round about them, to the right and to the left. Beneath them the holy creatures bear up the throne of glory, each with 3 fingers, and the height of each finger is 8,766 parasangs. From under the feet of the holy creatures 7 rivers of fire flow out. The breadth of each river is 365,000 parasangs. Its depth is 248,000 myriads of parasangs. Its length cannot be reckoned or measured. Each river flows round in an arc through the 4 quarters of heaven of Arabot, and each one of them falls into Maon, and from Maon it descends to Zebul, from Zebul to Sehakim, from Sehakim to Rakia, from Rakia to Samayim. From Samayim it falls on the heads of the wicked in Gehinnom, as it is written, Now a storm of the Lord breaks, a tempest whirls, it bursts over the head of the wicked. The hooves of the creatures are encircled by 7 clouds of burning coal. The clouds of burning coal are encircled by 7 walls of flame. The 7 walls of flame are encircled by 7 walls of firebrands. The 7 walls of firebrands are encircled by 7 walls of hailstones. The 7 walls of hailstones are encircled by stones of hail. The stones of hail are encircled by stones of hurricane blasts. The stones of hurricane blasts are encircled by environs of flame. The environs of flame are encircled by the upper chambers of storm wind. The upper chambers of storm wind are encircled by fire and water. Fire and water are encircled by those who say, Holy. Those who say, Holy are encircled by those who say, Blessed. Those who say, Blessed are encircled by bright clouds. The bright clouds are encircled by coals of juniper. The coals of juniper are encircled by 1,000 camps of fire, and myriads of hosts of flame. And between each lamp and each host a cloud stands, so that they should not burn each other with fire. The Holy One, blessed be He, has 496,000 myriads of camps in the height of heaven of Arabot, and in each camp are 496,000 angels. Every angel is as the great sea in height, and the appearance of their faces is like lightning. Their eyes are like torches of fire, their arms and feet like burnished bronze, and the roar of their voices when they speak is as the sound of a multitude. They all stand before the throne of glory in 4 rows, and mighty princes stand at the head of each row. Some of them say holy, and some of them say blessed. Some run on missions, and some stand and serve, as it is written. 1,000,000 waited on him. 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. A court was held, and the books were opened. When the time comes to say holy, the storm wind first goes out from the presence of the Holy One, blessed be He, and falls on the camps of the Shekinah, and great storm arises among them, as it is written. Now a storm of the Lord breaks, a tempest whirls. Thereupon 1,000,000 of them become sparks, 1,000,000 firebrands, 1,000,000 glowing coals, 1,000,000 flames, 1,000,000 males, 1,000,000 females, 1,000,000 winds, 1,000,000 blazing fires, 1,000,000 flames, 1,000,000 sparks, 1,000,000 hasmalum of light, until they accept the yoke of the kingdom of the high and exalted one who created them all, in dread, in fear, in awe, with shuddering, quaking, anguish, terror, and trembling. Then they return to their original state. Thus the fear of their king is kept before them every hour, so that they should set their hearts to recite the song every hour, as it is written. One called to another and said, when the ministering angels desire to recite the song, the river of fire rises, and its fires increase in strength 1,000,000 and a myriad of myriads of times. And it flows out from beneath the throne of glory between the camps of ministering angels and cohorts of Arabite. All the ministering angels first go down into the river of fire and bathe themselves in the fire of the river of fire, and dip their tongues and their mouths 7 times in the river of fire. And afterward they get out and don garments of hasmal, and they stand in 4 rows over against the throne of glory in every heaven. 4 chariots of the Shekinah stand in the 7 palaces, and before each of them stand 4 camps of the Shekinah. Between one camp and another a river of fire flows along. Between one river and another is a circle of bright clouds, and between each cloud pillars of sulfur stand fixed. Between one pillar and another stands a circle of fiery wheels. Between one wheel and another is a circle of tongues of flame. Between one tongue and another is a circle of treasuries of lightning. Behind the treasuries of lightning is a circle of hurricane blasts. Behind the hurricane blasts is a circle of storehouses of storm. Behind the storehouses of storm is a circle of winds, thunderclaps, thunders, and sparks. Behind the sparks is a circle of tremors. When the ministering angels utter the holy, all the pillars of the heavens and their bases shake, and the gates of the palaces of the heaven of Arabat quiver. The foundations of the earth and the Sehachim shudder. The chambers of Ma'un and the chambers of Makan writhe, and all the orders of Rakia, the constellations and the stars, are alarmed. The orb of the sun and the orb of the moon hurry from their paths in flight, and running backwards 12,000 parasangs seek to fling themselves from heaven, because of the thunder of their voices and the sparks and lightning's flashes that shoot out from their mouths, as it is written. Your thunder crashed and as it rolled. Your lightning lit up the world. The earth shuddered and quaked. But the prince of the world calls to them and says, stay at rest in your places. Be not afraid, because the ministering angels recite this song before the Holy One. Blessed be He, as it is written. When all the stars of the morning were singing with joy, and the sons of God in chorus were chanting praise. When the ministering angels recite the holy, all the sacred names engraved with a pen of flame on the throne of glory fly off like eagles, with 16 wings, and encompass and surround the Holy One. Blessed be He, on the 4 sides of the abode of His glorious Shekinah. The angels of the host, the fiery ministers, the opening of power, the cherub of the Shekinah, the holy creatures, the seraphim, the erulim, the tapsarim, the cohorts of flame, and the cohorts of devouring fire, the ranks of firebrand, the hosts of flame, the holy princes, crowned with crowns, robed with royalty, covered with glory, girded with beauty, girt with magnificence, girdled with majesty, fall prostrate 3 times and say, Blessed be the name of His glorious kingdom forever and ever. When the ministering angels say holy, according to its proper order before the Holy One, blessed be He, the ministers of His throne and the servants of His glory go out with great joy from under the throne of glory. Each of them has in his hands 1,000,000 and a myriad of myriads of starry crowns, like the brilliance of the morning star in appearance. They put them on the heads of the ministering angels and the great princes. Those that say holy receive 3 crowns, one for saying holy, one for saying holy, holy, and one for saying holy, 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 Yahweh of hosts. Whenever they do not recite the holy according to its proper order, devouring fire goes out from the little finger of the Holy One. Blessed be he. It falls upon their ranks and splits into 496,000 myriads of parts corresponding to the four camps of the ministering angels, and devours them at a stroke, as it is written. A fire precedes him as he goes, devouring all enemies around him. Then the Holy One, blessed be he, opens his mouth, and with one word creates new ones like them to take their place. Each of them stands in song before his throne of glory and recites, Holy, as it is written. Every morning they are renewed, and great is his faithfulness. Come, and I will show you the letters by which heaven and earth were created, the letters by which seas and rivers were created, the letters by which mountains and hills were created, the letters by which trees and grasses were created, the letters by which stars and constellations were created, the letters by which the orb of the moon and the disk of the sun, Orion and the Pleiades, and all the various luminaries of Rakia were created, the letters by which the ministering angels were created, the letters by which the seraphim and the creatures were created, the letters by which the throne of glory and the wheels of the chariot were created, the letters by which the necessities of the world were created, the letters by which wisdom and understanding, knowledge and intelligence, humility and rectitude were created, by which the whole world is sustained. I went with him, and he took me by his hand. He bore me up on his wings, and showed me those letters, engraved with a pen of flame upon the throne of glory, and sparks and lightning shoot from them, and cover all the chambers of Erebot. Come, and I will show you where water is suspended in the height of Rakia, where fire burns in the midst of hail, where lightnings flash in the midst of mountains of snow, where thunders rumble in the highest heights, where flame blazes in the midst of burning fire, where voices can be heard above the thunder and earthquake. I went with him, and taking me by his hand, he bore me up on his wings, and showed me all these things. I saw water suspended in the heights of the heavens of Erebot, through the power of the name Yah, I am that I am, and its fruits were descending from heaven, and watering the surface of the earth, as it is written, From your palace you water the uplands. The earth is full of the fruit of your works. I saw fire, snow, and hailstones, enclosed one within another, without one destroying the other, through the power of the name of a consuming fire, as it is written, For Yahweh your God is a consuming fire. I saw lightnings flashing in the midst of mountains of snow, without being quenched, through the power of the name Yah, Yahweh, the everlasting rock, as it is written, Yah, Yahweh is the everlasting rock. I saw thunders and voices roaring in the midst of flames of fire, without being overwhelmed, through the power of the name of the great Almighty, as it is written, I am God Almighty. I saw flames of fire burning and flaring in the midst of the blazing fire, without being swallowed up, through the power of the name of a hand upon the throne of Yah, as it is written. And he said, A hand upon the throne of Yah. I saw the rivers of fire in the midst of rivers of water, and rivers of water in the midst of rivers of fire. Through the power of the name, he keeps the peace, as it is written, He keeps the peace in his heights. He keeps peace between fire and water, between hail and fire, between wind and cloud, between tremors and comets. Come, and I will show you the souls of the righteous who have already been created and have returned, and the souls of the righteous who have not yet been created. He bore me up with him, and taking me by his hand, he led me to the throne of glory, and showed me those souls which had already been created and have returned, flying above the throne of glory in the presence of the Holy One. Blessed be he. Then I went and expounded this verse, and found with regard to the text, The Spirit shall clothe itself in my presence, and the souls which I have made, that the Spirit shall clothe itself in my presence, refers to the souls of the righteous which have already been created in the storehouse of beings, and have returned to the presence of God. And the souls which I have made refers to the souls of the righteous which have not yet been created in the storehouse. Come, and I will show you where the souls of the wicked stand, and where the souls of the intermediate stand, whether the souls of the intermediate descend, and whither the souls of the wicked descend. He said to me, The souls of the wicked are brought down to Sheol by two angels of destruction, Za'apeel and Samkiel. Samkiel is in charge of the souls of the intermediate to support them and to purify them from sin, through the abundant mercies of the Omnipresent One. Za'apeel is appointed to bring down the souls of the wicked from the presence of the Holy One, blessed be he, from the judgment of the Shekinah to Sheol, to punish them with fire in Gehinnom, with rods of burning coal. I went with him, and taking me by his hand, he bore me up and showed them all to me with his fingers. I saw that their faces looked like human faces, but their bodies were like eagles. Moreover, the faces of the intermediate were a greenish color, on account of their deeds, for they are tainted until purified by their iniquity by fire. And the faces of the wicked souls were as black as the bottom of a pot, because the multitude of their wicked deeds. I saw the souls of the fathers of the world, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and the rest of the righteous, who had been raised from their graves and had ascended into heaven. They were praying before the Holy One, blessed be He, and saying in prayer, Lord of the universe, how long will you sit upon your throne as a mourner sits in the days of his mourning, with your right hand behind you, and not redeem your sons and reveal your kingdom in the world? Do you not pity your sons who are enslaved among the nations of the world? Do you not pity your right hand behind you, by which you stretched out and spread the heavens, the earth, and the heaven of heavens? Have you no pity? Then the Holy One, blessed be He, answered each and every one of them, and said, Since these wicked ones have sinned and thus, and have transgressed thus and thus before me, how can I deliver my sons from among the nations of the world, reveal my kingdom in the world before the eyes of the Gentiles, and deliver my great right hand which has been brought low by them? Then Metatron, the servant of Yahweh, called me and said to me, Take the books and read their wicked deeds. At once I took the books and read their deeds, and it was recorded that each and every one of those wicked ones had incurred extirpation 36 times over. Moreover, it was recorded that they had transgressed all the letters of the Torah as it is written. The whole of Israel has transgressed your Torah. It does not say here against your Torah, but simply your Torah, because they transgressed it from Aleph to Tau, and incurred extirpation 36 times over for each letter. At once Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob began to weep. Then the Holy One, blessed be He, said to them, Abraham, my friend, Isaac, my chosen one, Jacob, my firstborn, how can I save them at this time from among the nations of the world? Thereupon Michael, the prince of Israel, cried out and lamented in a loud voice, saying, Lord, why do you stand aside? Come, and I will show you the curtain of the omnipresent one, which is spread before the Holy One, blessed be He, and on which are printed all the generations of the world, and all their deeds, whether done or to be done, to the last generation. I went and he showed them to me with his fingers, like a father teaching his sons the letters of the Torah. And I saw all the leaders of every generation, and every deed of every generation, both of Israel and of the Gentiles, whether done or to be done in time to come, to all generations till the end of time, were all printed on the curtain of the omnipresent one. I saw them all with my own eyes, and when I had seen them, I opened my mouth and said in praise of the omnipresent one, For the word of the king is paramount, and who dare say to him, Why do that? He who obeys the command will come to no harm. And I said, Lord, what variety you have created, and great are your achievements, Lord. Come, and I will show you the souls of the angels and the spirits of the ministers whose bodies have been burned by the fire of the omnipresent one, which goes out from his little finger. And they are turned to fiery coals in the middle of the river of fire. But their spirits and souls stand behind the Shekinah. Whenever the ministering angels do not recite the song at the right time or in the proper and fitting manner, they are burned and consumed by the fire of their Maker and the flames of their Creator in their places. And the storm wind blows on them and casts them into the river of fire. And they are reduced there to mountains of burning coal. But their spirits and souls return to their Creator, and all of them stand behind their Maker. Come, and I will show you the right hand of the omnipresent one, which has been banished behind him, because of the destruction of the temple. From it all kinds of brilliant light shine, and by it the 955 heavens were created. Even the seraphim and the Ophanim are not allowed to look on it till the day of the salvation comes. I went with him, and taking me by his hand, he bore me up on his wings and showed it to me, with all kinds of praise, jubilation, and psalm. No mouth could tell its praise, no eye behold it, because of the magnitude of its greatness, its praise, its glory, its honor, and its beauty. Moreover, all the souls of the righteous who are worthy to see the joy of Jerusalem stand beside it, praising and entreating it, saying 3 times every day, Awake, awake, clothe yourself in strength, arm of the Lord, as it is written, He made His glorious arm to go to the right hand of Moses. Then the right hand of the omnipresent one wept, and 5 rivers of tears flowed from its 5 fingers, and falling into the great sea made the whole world quake, as it is written, The earth will split into fragments, the earth will be riven and rent, the earth will shiver and shake, the earth will stagger like a drunkard, sway like a shanty, 5 times corresponding to the 5 fingers of his great right hand. But when the Holy One, blessed be He, shall see that there is none righteous in that generation, none pious on the earth, no righteousness in men's hands, no one like Moses, no intercessor like Samuel, who could entreat the Omnipresent One for salvation, for redemption. For his kingdom is to be manifested in the whole world, for his great right hand is set before him once again, so that he might effect with it a great deliverance for Israel. Then the Holy One, blessed be he, will at once remember his own righteousness, merit, mercy, and grace, and for his own sake will deliver his great arm, and his own righteousness will support him, as it is written. He saw that there was no one like Moses, who sought mercy many times for Israel in the wilderness, and annulled the decree against them. And he was astonished that there was no intercessor like Samuel, who interceded with the Holy One, blessed be he, and cried to him. And the Holy One answered him, and did what he wanted, even what was not foreordained, as it is written. It is now wheat harvest, is it not? I will call on the Lord, and he will send thunder and rain. Moreover, Samuel is linked with Moses, as it is written, Moses and Aaron among the priests, and Samuel among those who invoke his name. Moreover, Scripture says, even if Moses and Samuel were standing in my presence, my own arm brought me salvation. The Holy One, blessed be he, will say, how long shall I expect the children of men to work salvation for my arm by their righteousness? For my own sake, for the sake of my own merit and righteousness, I shall deliver my arm, and by it my sons from the Gentiles, as it is written. For my own sake, and for my sake alone shall I act. Is my name to be profaned? Then the Holy One, blessed be he, will reveal his great arm in the world, and show it to the Gentiles. And it shall be as long as the world, and as broad as the world. And the glory of its splendor shall be like the brilliant light of the noonday sun at the summer solstice. At once Israel shall be saved from among the Gentiles, and the Messiah shall appear to them, and bring them up to Jerusalem with great joy. Moreover, the kingdom of Israel, gathered from the four quarters of the world, shall eat with the Messiah, and the Gentiles shall eat with them, as it is written. The Lord bears his holy arm in the sight of all the nations, and all the ends of the earth shall see the salvation of our God. Amen.